Welcome to Neurodiversity Media Network. This is the operator, and I am talking to you about sacred doesn't mean silent. This is part one of a 4-part series where we'll talk about the importance of speaking out. Sacred doesn't mean silent. Never let another person's words keep you from speaking. In the vast tapestry of human interaction, the power of voice stands paramount often. We're taught to equate the sacred with silence, to believe that reverence means muteness, but the truth is, the most sacred things in life are often the loudest. Our voices, our opinions, our truths are sacred, and they demand to be heard. So from the Neurodiversity Media Network, at this time, we'd like you to listen to part one of Sacred Doesn't Mean Silence. Listen to the consequences of remaining silent, as well as why it's important to speak out. Who am I and why am I here? I'm the visionary that can see the greatness and strategy before you and rent you the belief you need until you can own it. I'm the voice for women that don't have one until they have the wisdom to know that they do. And I am your virtual broker, connecting you to the resources and relationships that you need to propagate more revenue and relax just a little bit. I hope by bringing you this 4-part series and this information, as well as resources in part 4, will be helpful. Whether it's the thought of the positions you've been in before, where you are now, or to help you avoid a scenario in the future. Yourself, a friend, family member, child even, or for you to take this information and expound on it, to give your story, testimony, to help someone else in the community. The first part of Sacred Doesn't Mean Silent is the power of voice. Every individual possesses a unique voice, a distinct perspective that contributes to the collective wisdom of society. When we silence ourselves or let others silence us, we rob the world of that unique perspective. The power of the voice isn't just in speaking, but in the impact of those words can have. See, sometimes it's the things that you don't say that somebody wished that you did say that could have prevented them from being in a situation that may have been deadly. It's the things that you didn't say that you thought was just you that your child needed to know so they could avoid a scenario. It's the things that you didn't say that your parent and auntie didn't know that led to other family members being abused. And I'm not here to point a finger, and I'm not here to make you feel shamed or put any kind of blame in your plate, because I know too often we do that to ourselves. But I'm just asking you to take a moment and think about the times in which you wished somebody had said something, had shared a secret, had given you the formula, had made you aware that these things were even possible, so that you could be a little bit more guarded, that you could be a little bit more aware, that you could say "me too" behind it, or that you could say "that was almost me, but someone told me and the story ended well." See, again, the power of voice isn't just in speaking, but in the impact those words can have. Sacred doesn't mean silent. The misconception of sacred silence. Historically, silence has been associated with reverence. In many cultures and religions, silence is seen as a form of respect. But it's essential to differentiate between chosen silence and imposed silence. Choosing to be silent in moments of reflection, meditation, or respect is empowering. Being silenced by societal pressures, prejudices, or the overpowering voices of others is disempowering. And many of us know what that feels like. I don't think I need to give examples of feeling silenced by society or having prejudice based on your culture, your religion, your sexual preference, your height, any of these things, and others, of course. Too many to name. But choosing to be silent, that's the one that we can individually respond to, that we individually can choose to speak up or not, that we individually can ask for help, that we individually can share with someone else to avoid a scenario from happening. See, that's one person. That's something you can control. So here today, we're asking you to just reflect on one's own self and choice to be silent. And as we said, if it's in moments of reflection, meditation, just having respect, that's one thing. But if it's to avoid being acknowledged or not wanting to answer any questions, or the pushback you may get by actually speaking out, we want you to listen to this one.
Immerse in the mystic with Writual Planner, a sacred space to record daily tarot readings, delve into card meanings, and reflect on your spiritual journey. Choose from 1 or 3 card daily spreads in print or digital formats. Go to neurodiversitymedianetwork.com/ritual, WRITUAL. And use the coupon code BRIAR, all caps, BRIAR, for an additional 15% off.
Sacred doesn't mean silent. Speaking out, a sacred duty. Speaking out against injustice, sharing personal experiences, or simply expressing an opinion is a sacred duty. It's a commitment to oneself and to the broader community. By speaking out, we challenge norms, introduce new ideas, and foster growth. See, if you don't speak out, then the person that committed the act will feel as if it's okay. See, they won't look to change. They won't think about whether they're right or wrong. They'll continue on a path of the same actions until somebody else holds them accountable for their personal experience. You're not the only one that's going through this, although it may feel like it if you're going through it now. Somewhere in another city, maybe in another country, there's somebody that's experiencing what you're experiencing right now. There's somebody that experienced it yesterday, last month, last year, last decade, last century. But see, if there's no conversations about it, if the person is left to feel as if they're on their own and it's an isolated situation, if there aren't support groups, if there aren't people willing to talk about it and their own experiences and to gather with others within the community, there'll be no growth. No one will work on new ideas or new ways of doing things, such as coming up with family bathrooms or universal bathrooms. Nobody will go through that trouble, and the things that happen will be considered to be norms because they're not challenged. They won't be the exceptions. And we ask that of the future, is that what you want to see the next generation go through? Well, remember, it's your sacred duty. You're the ones that can call in, send an email, leave a voice message, be a whistleblower. That's you. Sacred doesn't mean silent. The dangers of staying silent. It's really that important. Speaking out against injustice, sharing personal experiences, or simply expressing an opinion is a sacred duty. It's a commitment to oneself and to the broader community. By speaking out, we challenge the norms and introduce new ideas, and that fosters growth. Sacred doesn't mean silent. Embracing the sacred voice. When you choose silence over speaking, especially in situations where your voice can make a difference, we inadvertently become complicit. Silence can be misconstrued as agreement or acceptance. In the face of injustice, misinformation, or bias, see, silence can perpetuate harm. Imagine how I would feel if I knew that you had been to the doorway and saw and not said. Imagine the next time that I see you at the grocery store and you had seen inside of the vehicle, yet you said absolutely nothing. Imagine that you were in the classroom when my daughter was bullied and you heard the child, yet you said nothing to the teacher or the TA or the mother when she came to pick up her child. You can make a difference. but your silence may lead me to believe that you accept the scenario that was put in front of me. You agree with the abuse that I endured, verbal, emotional, physical. Make it clear. Speak out. Sacred doesn't mean silent. Speak out for yourself, for your loved ones, and for your community. This has been a series brought to you by Neurodiversity Media Network. Subscribe, and we'll be back for part 2 of Sacred Doesn't Mean Silent. Speak out.